right now about putting ourselves to the knees and bringing ourselves to the heart. It's like when you bow your head down to the floor, to do the metaphor that you surrender your mind to your heart. You put your heart,
Yes.
your mind lower than the heart.
Yes.
And maybe that's the key for the people to know what to do in these coming years. Is
Well,
like you said, to go into the heart and release no fear.
well, this for me. I mean, I know where everything I've learned is that during these kinds of extreme moments of change in history, when we sometimes go for thousands of years and there's sort of nothing going on, but when we come into these times of extreme change, what my inner guidance have told me very clearly, we don't need to try to protect ourselves. We don't need to build a hole in the ground and put a lot of food and guns in there. It's going to do nothing. We don't need to protect ourselves on any level at all. The only thing we need to do is a very specific thing. The Mayans speak about it, and so do a lot of other races that I talk to. It's a vibration. That's all it is. It's a vibration. We just simply need to we need to be in our hearts, not our brains, but also to connect to the heart of the earth. And the connecting to the heart of the earth and understanding that it's a living being, it's alive, it's our mother, and that from our heart to her hearts we connect, and then further from there to the heart of the sun. So we have both mother and father. And that when we connect in that way, it creates a vibration within us. It's a frequency. It's a very, very specific vibration. And that is all that's required. That when a person holds that vibration, they don't have to worry where they are, and they're not going to be harmed. It may look like magic. It may absolutely do. You may be seeing mountains going up and down around you, but you will not be harmed because you hold this frequency. And this is what I'm being told, is this is all that you have to do. They keep saying it's simple, it's easy, it is not complex, it is love. Being in your heart, loving all life everywhere, connecting to the heart of the earth, connecting to the heart of the sun. And that's it. You don't have to do anything else. And just watch it like a movie, and you will see. But that does more than just protect you during that time. That's the state of fearlessness. That is the state of fearlessness, is being in love with life, with the earth, with the sun, with all that is, and knowing you're connected to all life everywhere, that you're not alone, and just ride this energy, because it's going to be a lot of energy. I know for sure. It's going to be unbelievable what's about to happen here. It's like in Lemuria, before Atlantis, long time ago. They knew a good 1,000 years before that their continent was going to sink. 1,000 years before they knew this. And they began to prepare for 1,000 years of how they were going to do it and what they were going to do and what they were going to leave. We're not quite that aware now. I mean, most of the world is completely unaware of the huge changes that are emerging on Earth right now. But I think we're going to see this. For me, it's an absolute. I really believe, but because God can always alter everything at any time. There's another thing you talked about, the hologram. Okay, the Syrian scientists did put a holographic field around the Earth, like we were explaining. But our scientists have proven that. I was in Mexico. I was invited down by the Grand Itzamayan Council in Huntsbatsman to speak on the council down there. And so was Edgar Mitchell, who was one of the people that walked on the moon. And we ended up in the same room for quite a while and began to talk. And he told me about a discovery made through NASA And this would have been in the late 90s, 10 years ago approximately, 11, 12 years ago. And they had discovered that the universe and the earth and everything in it was a hologram and a holographic image. And like in a holograph, if you have a photograph, say, of a tree, if you rip off a little corner and look into there, there's the tree. You see the whole thing. Then if you take that little piece and you break off another little piece and look in there, maybe with a microscope or magnifying glass, you'll still see the tree. No matter how small you go, breaking off pieces, even if you have to go down to an electron microscope and look into it, you still see the image of the whole thing. And so when they built a machine of some type, I don't know exactly what this was, to demonstrate and prove this, and they put a human being in there to see what they would see. So it's like a piece of the universe. And what did they see? The heavens, the stars, and all in the Milky Way and the whole thing. That's what they saw inside of a human being, because we are a holographic image of that whole thing. So they looked into the person and they saw the stars, the heavens, and the heavens happened to be exactly what they would see if they looked outside. So if there was a comet coming through, when they look in there, there's the comet. It's the exact image of what's in the heavens at that moment. And then they took a little, I don't know, a fingernail or a piece of hair or something of the human being, took the human being out and threw that inside the machine. They still see the heavens exactly as they are. And no matter how small they would go down to it, it would continually holographically show the whole universe. And this was why they began to prove and realize that the universe is a hologram.
So it brings us back to the ancient belief of Kabbalah and all these things, that it's like a bubble that you create from your heart. It's like reality is like a...
Reality is a function of human consciousness. It's a function of whatever consciousness is creating it. And it does appear to be holographic in nature in the way that it is created. And we may override that in time and be able to understand it from a different way later as we get older and progress further. But right now, that image works very well. And if you superimpose what the Russians are discovering over the top of this, you're getting a clearer picture where you begin to understand that everything, the very reality is not just a hologram, but it is also aware and conscious. It's a living thing. It's not just this dead thing. It's a living thing. And that means everything, all the stars, all the planets, all the whole thing is one totally unified field, and it is conscious. And we as human beings can connect with it and actually make changes on Earth that will prove that we're connected with it. They are able to change in local positions the gravity field by connecting consciously to the gravity field, and actually make the gravity stronger and make the gravity weaker just by connecting to it through consciousness.
So that's how you explain some of the weird stuff of when you get a phone call and you know that's your wife is calling, because you enter this wavelength where thought or telepathy or...
Everything's interconnected. Mm-hmm. It's all one big living field. If you don't believe it, then you can't tap into it. But if you know the truth of it and you connect into it, then you can tap into it and you can know anything. Or you can connect in directly in any kind of way. This is why the highest levels of consciousness don't come here in spaceships. They don't have to. They can be where they are and yet know and experience and sense everything that's happening here on Earth without ever leaving where they are. The lower levels are the ones that have to travel here.